You were an animal then, you're an animal now. I just gave you claws.
Have you ever tried not being a mutant?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Franchise Deep Dive with Jake and Josh, the podcast where we dive deep into all of your favorite and least favorite movie franchises. I'm Jake.
And I'm Josh.
And today, we are continuing our little franchise deep dive of the original X-Men trilogy. This is a little precursor. Once we wrap up doing X-Men or the original X-Men trilogy with next week's episode, X-Men The Last Stand, then we are doing every single MCU movie from Iron Man leading all the way up to Avengers Doomsday in December. One MCU movie every week. We're going to try to cram Spider-Man Brand New Day in at some point. I believe that comes out mid to late July, so we'll try to figure that out. I think I mapped it out correctly, but I might have fucked up, so we'll see when we get there. But either way, yes, we are talking today about the sequel to the original X-Men film from 2000, X2 X-Men United. Now, Josh, I gotta ask you, do you have any kind of history or relationship with this movie? If you guys don't know how we do things with certain movies, we like to kind of talk about our little history with them and if we have any experience with the film. But I'm curious to hear if you have any past with this movie specifically.
I always remember liking this one more, but as I was watching it, I think there were things that were clicking as they happened, and I was kind of like shocked the small details I remembered, but mainly the opening scene is what I was remembering mostly.
Of course.
But I kind of did forget a lot of like where this story went. So it was, I haven't seen this in like 10, 15 years. So I don't know. I just remember liking it more than the first, but that's kind of all I have really.
So I have a pretty close relationship to this movie, and I was talking about it with you a little bit briefly before we started recording. I'm pretty immune to nostalgia for the most part. Like, I grew up with the Star Wars prequels, but I hate those movies. I cannot stand them. And if you're wondering, yes, that includes Revenge of the Sith. I still think it's a turd. It's just a slightly more polished turd than Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. And I think we talked about it more so on our Fantastic Four episode when we were talking about the Tim Story films, the original 2005 Fantastic Four and then Rise of the Silver Surfer. But also back when we did our Spider-Man trilogy, the Raimi trilogy. And I would say if I had like, I don't want to say a Mount Rushmore, but if I had like a trinity of extremely nostalgic superhero films, it would be the first two Raimi films and X2 X-Men United. Because just like you, I remember enjoying this one a lot more than the first one as a kid, and I was rewatching this, I was just getting blasted with like nostalgia. Just every scene that was happening, I kind of had the opposite sort of the opposite reaction that you had while watching this, where everything was clicking for me. Like, I was like, oh, cool, we're at this scene now. Like, I can't wait. Like, I love this scene. Just remembering so many of like the little details. For some reason, I remember like so much of what Pyro does in this movie, and I don't know why, but it clicked with me. But
I remembered that shark lighter a lot. And
oh yeah,
for some reason, I don't know, when they get attacked, or when the cops come to Bobby's house, I don't know why I remember this part so well, and I forgot some other parts, but I remembered to the exact shot that was going to happen when Pyro's like lighting the cars on fire. I'm like, wait, I remember a cut to his face, and I remember the exact face he's making, and it did. I was like, oh my God, I remembered that. Why?
Yeah.
I don't know. There was just weird parts like that kept clicking in the movie.
Yeah, no, it's like so many like little details, like you said, like with his reaction and the little lighter that he has. I remember as a kid, like throughout the entire movie, just like him just constantly flicking the lighter.
I think I wanted to be
down.
him when I was a kid, so I think that's why I remember a lot of stuff with him.
No, and like even like littler things like earlier on in that scene, I always remember laughing because there's like a moment where Bobby's parents, they're like questioning him and stuff, and he's like, I can do a lot more. and he freezes the tea that
I
his
remember
mom is
that too.
drinking.
Yeah.
And I always remember, and like the cat licking it, but I always remember, even this time watching, thinking that's he, because he has this reaction like, oh, isn't that cool? Like, isn't that special? And I'm like, oh, you just ruined your mother's tea. Like, she can't drink that now.
They're like mortified by it. They're like really
Oh,
like
I have never seen a character in a movie more pissed off for no reason than his little brother is throughout the course of that entire
yeah.
scene.
What a
It's
dickhead. What a dick.
oh, his brother's the worst. But and we could talk a little bit more about that scene. But let me just set the stage for this movie real quick. I'll read off the IMDb synopsis and also like a little, who directed and everything, and then we can get into the discussion, because I just want to kind of dive in head first to this movie. But IMDb synopsis for X-Men X2 X-Men United, which, side note, is a really bad title for a movie. When anti-mutant Colonel William Stryker kidnaps Professor X and attacks his school, the X-Men must ally with their archenemy Magneto to stop him. Little, short and sweet synopsis. Again, directed by Bryan Singer, who also directed the first X-Men film. Budget of $110 million, significantly more than the previous entry. Box office of $407.7 million, and a critical Rotten Tomato score of 85%. So, box office success, critical success, and to this day, you'll commonly see a lot of people reference X2 X-Men United, as a lot of people still put it in their favorite superhero movies, period. Like, I don't think it's personally as good as something like The Dark Knight or Spider-Man 2, but a lot of people like put it in that same kind of conversation with those movies. It's still to this day. So there's still a lot of love and a lot of fanfare for this movie. And if you ask me, for a lot of reasons, I may not love it as much as a lot of those people do, but I still think it's, very entertaining. I think it improves in almost every way to the first film, like in literally almost every single regard. I don't think there's a single thing that the first movie does better than the second, other than I like that the first one is a bit shorter, because I do think this movie is a little bit too long, but that's neither here nor there. But
Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
I don't even think I feel the length that much. I think I might have felt it because I was a little tired when I watched it, but I don't know. I didn't really feel like in the first one there were parts that that were dragging for me and stuff like that, like slowed down,
Yeah.
and like more parts. But this one, I don't know. I it was like thoroughly a good time, and the effects look. I don't even think the effects look that bad in X-Men. I know you weren't as big on them. I don't think they look as bad, but this one they look way better, especially that Nightcrawler stuff is just, I think, looks really good.
dude. I was gonna bring that up because you had already mentioned it when we were talking about our history with the movie. You remembering the opening, and I still think that to this day this is one of the best openings to any comic book film, maybe ever. And I'm always just shocked every time I rewatch it, whether it's like just on YouTube, just because I want to see it again, or when I do revisit this movie, which isn't super often. But the effects of Nightcrawler and the teleportation stuff just look like timeless, is the only way that I can describe it. In the same way, a lot of the practical stuff that you get in the Raimi Spider-Man movies, again, specifically those first two, the Nightcrawler stuff in this, like, I just don't know how they were able to make it look so good in 2003 to the point where 23 years later, like, it still holds up. So yeah, oh, very impressive, very impressive.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, how do you
what it looks like in the comics? Like, how does he just appear? Like, is there like any of that like cool effect, that like smoke that he leaves behind in any of the comics?
again, it's depending on the iteration, but
Okay.
in the, I'm trying to remember, because he is in the Claremont run that I ran through about a year ago, and I don't remember there being smoke, but I don't remember there being smoke. I think he kind of just no, there is like a little bit of, there's
Is there?
something that
Okay.
appears when he, yeah. So the one thing I do kind of wish, and it's no slight to Alan Cumming, I did want to bring this up though, since we talked about Scream 7 recently and Ethan Embry is in that movie. Apparently Ethan Embry was almost cast as Nightcrawler and was the option originally because at first Alan Cummings wasn't available, but then I guess stuff got shifted around in his schedule. I also saw that Neil Patrick Harris went out for the role of Nightcrawler, so
Oh
I don't
wow.
know how that would have particularly panned out. And I wanted to ask you because Nightcrawler is one of the more popular X-Men, and he's not one of my top favorites, but I do like that character. And I'm just curious how you feel about him outside of this opening, like how you feel about Nightcrawler in this movie, like as a whole.
I don't know. I think he he's cooler to watch. He's all right.
Yeah.
Like I do like him a lot, but I can't tell if that's just because he's entertaining to like watch and his effects kind of like make him more enjoyable to watch. He's good. I'm not like blown away by him. I don't know if they just don't. I don't think they develop him at like that much. They have like a couple scenes where they talk about him, but I don't know. I know in the beginning he's kind of like that's not really him, so he kind of becomes a little less engaging, I think. But I think if they gave him a little bit more time to develop, but I think that kind of happens in these movies. Like there's so many to balance. He does have a couple scenes, but he's good. He's good, but I don't know how like what everyone else's opinion is of Nightcrawler, if he's like the universal favorite in this one, and if that's because of how entertaining he is to watch. You know?
My issue with him in this movie is very similar to like my issue with Rogue in the last movie and just a lot of the characters in these early X-Men movies. And it's because whereas one of my highlights of the Raimi movies is that it's so campy and unashamed to be a comic book movie, I still think X2 unfortunately falls into the camp of this is when these X-Men movies were still very much afraid of being comic book movies. They were trying very hard to take themselves seriously, and that I think comes at the expense of characters like Nightcrawler, because when I read comics with Nightcrawler, especially like I was saying that Claremont run, he is a lot more theatrical. He's a lot more witty. He's a lot more charming. And you get a little bit of that kind of squeaking out in those moments where he is like, oh, my name is Kurt Wagner. And I'm not going to do a German accent, guys. I'm just not. But he says, like, I'm Kurt Wagner. But in the circus, I was known as Nightcrawler and everything. And like those are little moments where you kind of see that personality squeak out, but I think they just stripped back a lot of his personality like they do with a lot of characters. Like again, like I already brought up Rogue, but Rogue is a lot more charming and fun and likable in the comics and animated series than she is in these movies, where she is like a focal point of the first movie. She is very much relegated to the background in this film, and really
So is Cyclops. I forgot he existed.
Yeah.
The entire I don't know why.
Well, because he leaves the plot for like a good chunk of the movie.
I know,
when
but
him and
I don't know why he's. I mean, the fact that he's not even on the cover, but he felt like such a bigger presence. I don't know why Storm is, because I felt Storm. What I remember from these movies was I thought Storm was a bigger center point, and she kind of feels like randomly inserted in these scenes. She doesn't. I don't know that.
I no disrespect to Halle Berry, she's another one like Storm in the comics, and again like the animated series from the 90s that people love. She's just so much more interesting, and she's this Egyptian goddess, and she is very again very theatrical, very over the top, and I don't want to throw around the word campy too much, but they're comic books, they're characters that dress up in colorful suits and they fight bad guys and they got these cool set of powers and everything. But she as well, they again, there's so much of this movie and a lot of these characters just get so much of what makes them unique and what makes them fun just removed, just so that they can have like a more serious tone. And going back to what we had said, like that this movie is just better, I think the plot in this film is so much more engaging, just face value. Like oh my gosh, I absolutely love the raid of the X Mansion. Like when William Stryker and his team of like mercenaries go in and they start attacking the school. I think that scene in that whole sequence is just so fantastic. It's so well executed. You don't get a lot of like feral Wolverine in that first X-Men movie, but in this scene specifically, you get like that feral Wolverine that you want to see. Like when him and Bobby are being attacked in the I don't know, the kitchen area, and he just like growls as he's like stabbing the guy. Like yeah,
Yeah.
like you get such good stuff like that. But yeah, man, that scene is so awesome.
Yeah, and I appreciate the villain in this one a lot more than the first one. And I like
Agreed.
that it just there's a lot of different layers to each character. Well, not to each character, but I think there's like, I mean, he has that connection to Wolverine, which I do like. I like that Wolverine. There's like that side plot of him kind of like trying to discover where he comes from. It just adds like a little bit of an emotional layer, and it just doesn't feel as one dimensional as Magneto in the first one. This I mean, it's still like
Yeah.
a similar end goal, except the opposite. But you also have that struggle with like, or that history with him and his son. That is like very sad, and his wife and stuff like that.
Yeah,
It
dark
just makes
stuff.
yeah, it just makes it a lot more. Yeah, when he's telling the story of his wife with the drill,
Yeah.
yeah. But no, yeah, so it's much more engaging villain, and I like how he like intertwines into like different characters in the X-Men and like and his son. I just think it's a lot more interesting and a lot more to chew on in this. So it definitely feels like it has a lot more depth than the first one.
It does, and I'm glad that you brought up his connection with Wolverine, because I think what that also brings to the table is I feel like Wolverine doesn't have much of a character arc in that first movie. Like he sort of does, and it's sort of tied with Rogue, but it's not explored that well. Whereas in this film, I really like that, like from the get-go, when you first meet Wolverine in this, so much of this film with him is just being that lone wolf type character and really trying just to uncover his past and figure out his sort of origins. And his character are kind of coming full circle and completing at the end of the film when he has the opportunity to learn more about his past, and he opts to go save his friends and go be with the X-Men. And I think that's just like a really well handled character arc for Wolverine in this film. And Hugh Jackman sells it really well. We didn't bring up either that he is a lot more jacked and shredded in this. I think I had read that he gained like 20 pounds of muscle for this movie, because in the first one he's like in shape enough, but he's not ripped. And in this movie you see like flashback scenes, and he's just yoked, not to the level that he would be in like X-Men Origins Wolverine or anything, but he's getting there. But yeah, I love William Stryker in this. One of my notes that I wrote down specifically was that, man, Brian Cox just has such like an amazing screen presence. And now coming off of like the heels of Succession, it's fun to go back to a movie like X2 and be like, oh, he's still like Logan Roy in this, but he's just like a colonel.
I hate his hair though in this movie. Oh my god,
it's not the best.
He somehow looks better, I think, in Succession than this.
Yeah, he's got a little bit more hair in Succession. He's a rich guy. He's not a military man. So military guys aren't known for their haircut. So I guess it logistically works. But yeah, like we were bringing up, kind of just like when we were talking about our history, just like things clicking with us. And I had kind of mentioned how like just every scene, like we talked about the scene with Bobby and his family, and I remember even being as like a kid and being like it kind of breaking my heart a little bit. Like there's nothing wrong with this guy, and like the parallels are obviously there. Like it very much feels like a scene of a son coming out as gay to his parents. Like the parallels I think are very obvious in that situation, and how it's handled, and how they're just like down to the dialogue and the specific words that they're choosing in that scene of how they're describing mutants.
Yeah, which is why I chose that for my opening quote, because it ties very much in with the continued themes of like just alienation
Oppression.
from the mutants and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
no, exactly. But like, I love we brought up the pyro scene, and that was one line of dialogue that is always ingrained in my memory. Is Pyro's line when they shoot Wolverine and Rogue and
Yeah.
Bobby get on the ground, and he says, "You know all those bad mutants you see on TV? Well, I'm the worst one." And
That's
just
one line I
starts-
remembered a lot. Like
Yeah.
when he started, I was like, oh shit, yeah, I know, I remember this exact line.
It's so funny though, because he does like, at first I for some reason I thought he had killed that one cop, the first one that he sends the fireball at, but then that cop gets back up at the end anyway. So I don't know
kinda
if
wish he
he
did.
killed.
I
It's played off like he just committed a bunch of murders, but
Yeah.
no, I love his reaction, because when Wolverine gets up and sees what Pyro did to all the police cars, like Pyro just kind of like shrugs, is like, it shit happens. Like that's kind of his reaction, and it's
Yeah.
like, dude, you just caused a lot of destruction, my man. So, but
Is he like? Is it that crazy that he did that? I mean, one of the cops just shot Logan in the face. Like, they all seem very. I get it doesn't help their image to like the art, like the problem with them, but like, I mean, is it that like, are they that upset by it? I don't know.
I think it's just more so the fact that, like, in the world of this movie, that's like a 16-year-old who just tried to kill a bunch of cops. Like yes, like they shot first and everything, and obviously, but I think his build up to that, it's not like a. You can kind of argue maybe it's self-defense, but he really seemed like he enjoyed it. Like that shot on his face, like he really seemed like he got a sweet little kick, a little adrenaline kick out of almost burning those cops alive. So I guess they're more like horrified that he had the like capability of doing that. But
Yeah.
I see your point. Yeah.
You got to tell me a little bit about Pyro in the comics here, because does he always need like a pilot light to get started, or is he able to like start creating it?
I'll be honest, I have not read a lot of comics with Pyro,
Because that would suck. That would suck. I don't really understand why he can't create it, but like Iceman can.
He can later on. He just hasn't harnessed it yet.
Okay.
That's part of like Magneto's like little thing later with him, when him and Mystique are talking to Pyro in the plane, and like he gives them that line with, I think it's something along the lines of like, you're a god among insects, like,
Yeah.
and just kind of like luring him in, like listen, the Professor X and the X-Men, they're gonna try to like keep you down, like you come with us and we'll fucking show you the ropes. And we'll see more of him in X-Men The Last Stand and everything. Did you you saw Deadpool and Wolverine, right?
Still haven't seen it.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Isn't that crazy? That's crazy.
Never mind. Yeah, I guess we'll get to it when we do our MCU binge. But yeah, there's just so many scenes in this that click with me. Like we talked about that, like X-Men. What pisses me off is, don't show me Colossus if you're not gonna fucking utilize him.
Why
there's
did I
even,
think
like, a
Beast
line-
was in this?
He's in the third one, so maybe you're getting it mixed up with the third
I
one.
really thought he was in this one. Yeah, I guess
no.
I guess I was mixing up, but I might have been mixing up more First Class and like those, honestly, because I don't remember The Last Stand that much, like at all.
Oh, I have that movie very memorized. I watched that movie a lot as a kid, unfortunately. But yeah, no, like the raid of the X-Men mansion, that opening scene with Nightcrawler, just the action in this movie is so much more elevated. And also too, like, I can't go without highlighting the cinematography in this movie. Like there was like a good amount of shots where I was like, oh hey, that was like,
I love the
creative.
the fridge shot. When he gets a drink, I was like, oh, all right, yeah. I mean, I like the like versatility with it.
There's a lot of versatility in the camera movements in this movie, like the framing choices, like they're utilizing like POV shots, like when they're in Bobby's house and like Wolverine hears a noise, he extends his claws and it like the cat pops out and it's like the POV of the cat, and like Wolverine is like has his claws at it and everything. Like there was a couple of like cool shots, like when Mystique slides the beer to the security guard, you get like an under the table shot of like the iron pills inside of the that. Oh, dude, that's another scene.
That
when
I
Magneto
remember
escapes.
Oh
Yeah,
no,
dude,
no,
I remember.
No, I don't. I do remember that too, but I remembered when Mystique is like human, when you see like the actual actress and she
Yes.
I remember that whole bathroom scene. It makes me sound like a perverted little kid, but like
No,
why is
I
that,
do
why is
too.
that
You know
one stick
why?
out?
Because
His
as a kid,
undies?
I was just his undies, dude.
It's
His
disgusting.
disgusting undies.
Yeah, I remembered that. I remember being like, oh yeah, that's yep. I wish I didn't remember that one, but yeah.
I was repulsed by that, but yeah, dude. There's that
They're not
shot.
like
There's just
they're not entirely white. They look like they were like slightly dipped in some coffee. It's like slightly off white,
they're
but not
like
in like a good.
dirty.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it looks
they're like
filthy.
dirty, tidy whiteys. Yeah, they're the guys do repulsive. But no, yeah, I just remember that because that scene kind of scared me as a kid, like when Magneto like pulls the iron from his body.
That's a great scene. That's a great scene.
Yeah, dude. The Magneto, I like a lot more in this movie as a whole. Like, even though he's like the main villain, and or in the first one, I like his inclusion in this movie so much more. And I just remember as a kid watching X2 and thinking it was like the coolest thing because, like, you're a kid. I hadn't seen a lot of movies, and just being like, oh, cool, like they're teaming up with the bad guy from the first one to fight this new bad
That's
guy.
another.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
I really do like that component of it. Is just like almost being forced to team up with like the anti-hero, right? He's not like a. Is he like a true villain, or is he like is he an anti-hero?
It really depends on the comic.
Yeah,
He goes back and forth. It's
But
like
I
Venom.
do,
Like Venom.
Yeah, but I do like
Venom
the
could be,
finding the common ground of the oh, let's put our differences aside and find like defeat the common enemy. But it's like having these like
Well,
yeah,
he betrays them too. Like
I know,
like his
yeah.
yeah. And I was reading in the trivia that apparently in the original version of the script, he wasn't going to betray them, and he was just going to help them. And there was two reasons. One, I guess they wanted to remain true to his more villainous origins, and then also they realized that it would give characters like Storm and Nightcrawler and Jean more to do in the climax of the movie if they didn't have Magneto just help them. So, and I think that works really well with his character, and I love that switch because we didn't really talk about we set the plot up with the synopsis, but like the main overarching narrative in this movie is that Stryker is trying to kill all mutants by using his son who can create illusions and making Professor X use their version of Cerebro to connect mentally with all the mutants in the world and try to kill all of them. And they're able to stop that plan. They thwart it. And Magneto's like, okay, I got an idea. And he's like, all right, now we're going to have Professor X get mentally connected with every human in the world and try to kill them. So you're like, oh shit, now we got a new threat to stop, and now we have to stop this. And yeah, so I just thought that the way that the plot and the narrative in this movie had a lot of momentum and just kept moving, it was so much more engaging than, first off, the stakes alone in this movie being risen. Like in the first one, it's like, oh yeah, Magneto's plan is to turn a couple of politicians into mutants. And then in the second one, it's like, oh, this colonel, this dude who's connected to Wolverine's past and has a connection with Professor X and everything, and this kind of grudge and vendetta against mutants, he's going to try to mass murder every single mutant in the world all at once and have like Professor X, the beacon of hope, be the person who does it. Like that is just a really great villainous plan. And yeah, you have that combined with Brian Cox's, like I said, his just amazing screen presence. It's just really cool. Really cool.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about like because I think the action scenes take a big step up too. So the fight with Wolverine and is it what's her name?
Lady Deathstrike.
Yes, yeah, I really really enjoy that fight a lot. From like when it starts too, it has like that that really like it kind of reminds me of Raimi a little bit. It's like a very like energetic swooping down like to like the close up of the fight. But that's a really fun fight. And you have that when her claws come out and Wolverine doesn't he just say like oh shit or something like that, or
he says something. He's like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I actually get a little squeamish with how that fight ends, like the way he defeats her. Something about it, like
yeah it's But I wanted to talk about, like, I think the humor feels a little bit more like just well balanced. I think like there's a couple like funny parts that just feel um just light and not like out of character, just or just fun parts. I want to talk about like the fun, because you were kind of saying how I forget, you were saying something in the beginning about like how everything is taken super seriously. I do
Yeah.
like the back and forth between Pyro and Iceman. I like that they kind of like, you get a little like fun, like different like combative like
Yeah.
energies, like in the mall when like Pyro's like just like being like the dickhead, and you always have like Iceman kind of like just like combating whatever he does, but also when he just cools like Wolverine's drink, just little parts like that. Just
I
like when he gets
love
like
that
the
part.
warm soda, he just like cools it off. I like just having those moments of fun with the powers, but it seems like they only really do that with them too. I don't think they really do it with anyone else. But
I literally specifically wrote in my notes that I love doing silly little fun things with
yeah,
powers,
yeah,
like cooling off Logan. I also love their interaction beforehand, because Wolverine walks in and he's like you guys have any beer in here? And Iceman is like, it's a school. Like, this is a
yeah.
school. Like, I think that's very funny, but
Oh,
I
the
get what you
Mystique flip
mean,
off, the Mystique when she flips him off when she
dude.
slides down. That's a good
Yes,
that's a really good
even
part.
that whole little action scene, and you get a good little character moment with Mystique too, where before they kind of go into the Alkaline Lake bunker and everything in that climax, they're outside, it's nighttime, and she's watching Wolverine and Jean have a conversation, and I just don't like the Wolverine Jean stuff. I don't like it in any of these movies. It's just not for me. I don't think it's handled well. It just you're never given a reason why Wolverine likes her. I'm pretty sure he
It's
just
out of
thinks she's
nowhere in the
hot.
first one. It's just out of
And
nowhere in the first
yeah,
one, and it just kind of
and it
continues based
continues
off
in
that.
this. Exactly. They it's that, they like, at least in like the Spider-Man movies, like, you get why Peter likes her, you get why she likes Peter, Mary Jane likes Peter. So that's, I think, handled. That
Yeah.
romance isn't great, but at least you're given explanations and you're shown why. But I love that little scene with Mystique, because she's watching them, and you can tell just from her expression that like she longs for some sort of like connection and a little bit of love. And Nightcrawler has this like question to her where he's like, hey, can't you like mimic anything? Like, why would you not choose to just be in disguise all the time? And she just has like a really simple but efficient response, which is like, I shouldn't have to hide. I shouldn't have to, like. And I think that's really powerful. I also thought it was funny because you've seen like First Class and Days of Future Past, right?
Yeah.
I had this thought while watching this movie this time, where I was like, it's so funny because in these movies, she barely talks at all. She says like 5 lines of dialogue per movie, if that, like as herself, not when she's like mimicking somebody. And then when Jennifer Lawrence plays the character, she never shuts the fuck up. Like, she's always talking. It's like two night and day, completely different takes on Mystique. So.
Do you prefer one or the other?
Yeah, fucking this one.
Okay. All right.
And it's nothing against Jennifer Lawrence, and she's really good in First Class and Days of Future Past, but in like Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix. Wait, is she in both? Yeah, she's in both. Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix. You could tell that Jennifer Lawrence did not want to be playing that character anymore. And then also at that point, they had switched from doing the body paint, which I did research. In this movie, they were able to get it down to 5 hours of makeup for Mystique, as opposed to 7 hours of makeup in the first movie. And then also in the first movie, she wore yellow contacts. In this movie, it was just digitally added in, and I didn't notice the difference. But yeah, in the later, newer X-Men movies, you can tell that it's just a suit. It's not like body paint and prosthetics. So I prefer the body paint. Like, listen, Jennifer, no disrespect, you're a good actress, but you're getting paid so much money. Just do the makeup. Just do the
Yeah.
makeup. Like, come
Wait,
on,
was
what
that
are we
because she
talking
didn't want to do it? You said.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She like didn't like it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, whatever.
Yeah.
Like you said, if I'm getting paid that, like, sure, sit me down in this chair, do whatever you want. Thank you.
Shit, I'll take half her pay, and you can paint me all the live long day. I'll be the new Mystique.
I'll volunteer.
Yeah.
At least get me on that screen, and then I'll let the opportunities come after.
But yeah, that action scene with Mystique when she first enters is awesome. Like, I think that's so cool. Like, I love when she also, like, she gets into the control room and she's disguised as Stryker, and she's like, as Stryker, she's like, quick, we have like a shapeshifter or a mutant or something like that. They could be anybody. And it like lingers on that over the shoulder shot of the control panel guy, and in the background you see her like take out the other guard, and you're like, oh shit, is she Stryker? Just, you know, little fun moments like that. And I get what you're saying. There is a little bit more balance in this movie, but I still think that it's a very dry movie. There are little moments of levity, but I still think this is a movie that's very much afraid to be a comic book movie. And it's not as good of a movie as, per se, like Batman Begins or The Dark Knight, which we've talked about on this podcast before. The character of Batman just suits a darker tone, a more serious tone better. And even then, myself and most people still criticize those movies as, yeah, they're really good movies, you know, maybe not Dark Knight Rises, but they feel more like crime thrillers that just happen to star Batman, and they don't really feel like Batman movies, you know?
Yeah.
And this is another scenario where it's like, I can make that argument for these early X-Men movies, whereas I think X2 is a really good movie and a really good superhero movie. Or I guess that I didn't phrase that properly. It's a really good movie. It's a good action movie, but I don't think it's a great X-Men movie, if that makes any sense.
You think it's a better X-Men movie than the first one, though? Or about the same?
Yes. Yeah, I'd say it's probably better, because I think in this movie, more characters get to shine than in the first one. The first one feels so fixated on Rogue and Wolverine. This one, I honestly was a little bit shocked rewatching this, because I was like, I don't remember them giving as much attention to the other characters. And I really thought it was just like the Wolverine show, and to some extent it still kind of is, but just not as bad as I thought it would be.
Yeah. You know? I don't really know what to make of this. I laughed. I don't know if I'm supposed to laugh at it or if that's just supposed to be like a fun little part, but do you remember when Magneto and Mystique are just like giggling to each other at Rogue, like a bunch of like little mean girls?
Yeah. One of the funniest reviews that I had ever seen was, I brought him up on this channel before, but the channel name is Cosmonaut Variety Hour. His real name is Marcus, and I think I brought him up during our Harry Potter discussions. But he did a review of all the X-Men movies, I believe, and he was talking about X2, and he's like, in this one, they turn Magneto into your sassy gay uncle, and it's so accurate, because he is so sassy in this. And I noticed too, they make Professor X a little bit sassier in this. Like, even from the opening with when they're at the mall, and he's like, next time you think about showing off, don't. And like, there's like a couple moments where like, oh wait, what does he say to Wolverine when Wolverine walks into him using Cerebro, and he says something like, I'll turn you into like a 6-year-old schoolgirl or something like that. Like, and Wolverine's like, are you kidding? And he's like, I'll have Jean braid your hair. And I was like, oh, okay, Professor. All right. Go off, Queen.
I wanted to read this one Letterboxd review. It signed me out just now for some reason.
Is it the one you sent me?
Yeah. Oh my God. That was so funny.
You could go to our text chat, and it'll be under the images you sent me.
I just got it up. All right. This one from Jesse. That's it. Just Jesse with an IE.
Just Jesse.
Do you think that kid with the blue tongue has any other powers, or is that it? He just sticks it out of you.
That is great setup and payoff, though, right? Because at the beginning, the little girl is like licking her ice cream, and she sticks her tongue out at this kid, and he like responds back with he's sticking out his blue tongue. And then at the end of the movie, when Wolverine's character arc completes itself, and he's like, oh, I'll take my chances with the kid, and he starts walking away, and the little kid just sticks his tongue out at Stryker.
Yeah. Those are other parts I remember a lot. Like when the girl's eating the ice cream, I was like, oh yeah, the tongue. And that's all I remember this kid doing.
I have a fun little fact about that scene too. When Professor X shows up and he freezes the entire mall because, pyro causes the disturbance and everything. Most of those extras were mimes in real life and had a lot of
Wow.
real life practice of standing extremely still. Cause I was paying attention. I was like, they're not moving. Like, how did they do this? Did they
That's a lot of mimes.
screen them in? Yeah, I'm sure not all of them, but it said a good majority of them were. And I was
Wow.
like, oh, that's cool because they're very still, dude. Oh my gosh, in talking about just cool scenes, the end with the president, I think is awesome.
It's so
I
scary.
love that.
It's
Terrifying.
yeah, that I kind of remembered that too. Like when you just see the silhouettes of them, just I'm like, oh my god, that's horrifying.
Right?
But yeah, that's a
Yeah.
really good great mood build up in that one in that
And it's
part.
just a great way to cap off the movie, really. I
Yeah.
know you have one final scene afterwards with Wolverine, Cyclops, and Professor X, but oh dude, I have to bring up the Brian Cox line that made me bust out laughing. It's when they kidnap Professor X and Professor X wakes up and he's in the underground bunker and everything. And Brian Cox goes, Xavier, please don't get up. And I was like, did he really just say that to a
That's
guy in a
fucked up.
wheelchair?
Fucked up, man.
No, but he is just such a great antagonizing villain in this, and we loosely brought it up, but that backstory with his wife is, and from what I understand, that's an addition to this movie. That is not accurate to the comics. In the comics, Stryker does not have a son who can create illusions like that. I believe that character is a real character, that Jason character who can create illusions. I think his character's name is
That's what his
the
ability is?
Mastermind.
I thought it was just mind
Yeah.
control.
No, they specify in the movie that his power is casting illusions on people.
Then how does he just get? Then how does that make you just do whatever they want? Like how does
It doesn't. They're casting illusions on people, so that's why to Professor X. Well, they also use I believe Stryker refers to it as a cerebral inhibitor, which dampens Professor X's powers, and then he has his son Jason cast illusions, and that's why throughout the course of the movie, Professor X, it looks like a little mutant girl is the one who's telling him to do these things.
But he talks about that serum that he's extracting from his brain, and he even says this is how we're able to control your mind. I thought he even says that.
No, because even when Storm and Nightcrawler enter that room, that's what Jason is doing. He's casting that illusion to them. He's not controlling their minds.
I thought that was just another part of it. Then how do they get Nightcrawler to because the opening scene is them don't they? I thought they were controlling him.
I don't think it.
Because he orchestrated the
it's
attack on
more
the
of,
president.
Yeah, no, I don't remember the specifics, but of that serum that they put, because that's how they get the information on the mansion from Magneto. That's a good delivery by him, by the way, too. When Professor X goes to visit him and he's like, "What did you tell them?" And it gets very serious, and Magneto he instantly he feels bad about it, and he's like, "I told them everything." I think that's a really excellent scene, but yeah, I'm not sure about the specifics of the serum, but I just know that Jason's powers are to cast illusions.
Yeah,
it is sort of telepathic.
It says,
So is that?
Yeah, it says create mental illusions and just persuade individuals.
Yeah, that's why I think it's a
mental
persuasion
manipulation.
thing, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it leads into the same thing. Okay.
Yeah. But it's not, yeah. So it's a little bit different than I think what
is
Jean
he more powerful?
and Professor X.
Is he more powerful than I mean, if he can control
Than Professor X?
Yeah.
No, because remember the cerebral inhibitor. I think they're dampening Professor X's powers, and they're
Okay.
they're doing all of it. I think it's a trifecta of they're using that dampening thing, they're using the serum, and then they're also using Jason, who is in this movie at least shown to be an extremely powerful mutant.
Mm-hmm.
So Yeah, but no, I actually like. Again, I've always said I'm fine with comic changes as long as they enhance the story, and I think having this character be Stryker's son, and then him using that tragic backstory of like essentially like the son cast illusions on his wife so bad that the movie says she took a drill to her head to like try to cut it
That's
out, and
fucking
that's like
nuts. Yeah.
holy shit, that's dark. But yeah, no, I mean, I don't have a ton left about this movie. I guess the last thing is one of my biggest issues with this X-Men trilogy. It's the Jean Grey sacrifice and the lead up to the next movie, and it'll be more of an issue in the next movie. I do not like the Phoenix power being an innate ability in Jean. I don't like that.
I don't really
as a
understand it,
change.
to be honest. I don't know how. What you might after this call, you might have to explain the whole the Phoenix thing and why does it attach to Jean? Because that becomes Jean, right? But that's not her.
So in the comics, and the comic run that I actually have brought up on this episode and the last one is the first time that you see the Phoenix appear. The Phoenix is a cosmic entity that predates the Big Bang. It is like a cosmic force that takes over somebody's body, most commonly Jean. However, in this movie, it's you see it like when she like starts doing the water thing, like you see her eyes glow
Right.
like that, like yellowish red, and then you'll see it in the next movie as like it's a huge part of X-Men: The Last Stand. But I don't like it being an innate thing that Jean has always had. I like it being a cosmic force that takes over her body because she comes into contact with it. I think that's a
I thought
lot
that's what it's
cooler. I think
supposed
it's
to
a
be.
lot more
Yeah.
interesting.
I I don't remember them really explaining it in these two movies, like what the connection is to Jean and the Phoenix.
They explain it more at the beginning of the next film.
Okay.
In The Last Stand, as it's just to me it's a very bad adaptation of that very very popular comic storyline. Like one of the most top five probably most famous iconic X-Men sagas is the Phoenix Saga, and they just I tried to look it up, and apparently it was just to like streamline that plot, but like I don't know, simplify it I guess, but it just doesn't work for me. And you start to see that at the end of this movie. But
How does it
otherwise, I think it's a
decide?
really good movie.
How does the Phoenix decide who it's gonna possess or attach itself to?
I actually don't know like what the decision process is, because it most commonly connects with Jean, and maybe it's just because Jean is like a very powerful mutant. But I know in the first time she comes into contact with it in the comic at least, and I believe in the animated series. It's been a minute since I've seen the animated series, but I think it's very similar. But they like go out into space, and she just comes into contact with it. Like Jean herself, like just comes into contact with that entity, that force, and it takes over her body, and she gets even more powerful. And like the Phoenix force. Oh, speaking of power things, because I know you brought up last episode, you were curious about Cyclops's power. And it goes beyond what I thought. Like it is not just a punch, and I must have just not read these comics. Did you see
Like
X-Men?
it's like a realm, right? That you're
Like that's where the power comes from, but I did not realize how powerful it was. Do you remember the first Doctor Strange movie at all? Like the villain Dormammu?
yes.
Yeah, so apparently there is a comic where Scott's optic blast is able to actually hurt Dormammu, which if you remember in Doctor Strange doesn't even defeat Dormammu. He essentially just annoys Dormammu.
Right, yeah.
Like repeatedly. Like
Yeah.
So like when I read, apparently, yeah, I was looking into it because I wanted to get back to you on it. And apparently there are comics where he is able to split a planet in half with his optic beams, and like he's able to hurt Dormammu and stuff. So because I knew it wasn't just like a punch, like a force push or anything. I knew it was powerful. I just must have not read those comics where I haven't read a comic where the X-Men come into contact with Dormammu, but Yeah. So
Wow.
that answers that question.
So is he
Yeah.
is he top 5, top 10 most powerful X-Men with that?
I don't know if I top 5 is tough because there's so many mutants that are like ridiculously powerful. Like Magneto is insane. Storm is insane. Iceman at a like a certain
Yeah, I've seen
level is
Iceman up there, which shocks me.
ridiculous. Yeah, like I mean, because these movies, it's always like, oh, I'm gonna like, like in this movie, I'm gonna make your tea cold. Like,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
in other, like you see a little bit of it in Days of Future Past when they're fighting the Sentinels at the beginning, like some of the cooler stuff he can do. But yeah, in terms of this movie though, I don't really have much left. Oh,
No,
dude. The we didn't I was talking about the cinematography earlier. There's an awesome shot in that opening Nightcrawler scene when it goes through the eye hole.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It like zooms through the
Yep.
eye hole into the room, and I was like, dude, I that is so cool.
Even
Like,
the slow
I don't
motion,
know.
I thought looked good, and that can like slow motion can sometimes look a little like cheesy. I thought that looked good. Or
Yeah,
it
no,
looked like
they
it fit.
used it right. No,
Yeah.
see, slow motion is fine as long as you're not Zack Snyder and you don't use it every other fucking shot. I did write that Jason is creepy, and I remember as a kid being very creeped out by Jason.
I remember
Like
being
he's
creeped
just
out
got a creepy aura.
by Nightcrawler when he has like the makeup on before he like
He's got the hat like
yeah.
brimmed down, and you like
Yeah.
don't really see him.
When we were
Yeah.
watching it, Lauren was like, "What the fuck is that?" Like she was like, "What's wrong with him?" And I was like, "Just wait. All right, it's not actually."
He's another one too where like not just his personality, but like God, I hate the costumes in these movies because I love his comic book costume. Like, have you seen what he looks like in the comics where he's got like the red
Yeah.
and like that's like oh like it looks so cool. And then in this movie it's like, we'll give him like a fucking gray coat.
I think I still like his over the black leather.
Dude, and they still have the black leather in this movie
Yeah.
too. Oh, just I will, if anything, like I don't love Deadpool and Wolverine, but thank fucking God we finally got the yellow suit and the mask. Like, thank God.
It's funny
I'm
because a
so
lot of these
glad
comics,
that-
Nightcrawler has the black leather. He just has like red accent with it.
Dude, that's yeah, like the little red accent, just like give a little bit of color contrast,
Yeah.
like spruce it up a little bit. Like just that's why, dude, what would you say? Like like the MCU and Iron Man, it had to be like that was like the movie, and from then on where like characters were actually getting costumes that looked, I mean, yeah, you had like
Well, Spider-Man you have.
Spider-Man, yeah.
And
I
that
love
had,
that
you know,
Toby
Green
suit.
Goblin's like, you know, the villains are also, I mean, not Doc Ock, but he's not really supposed to be, I don't think. But, you know, Green
Even Doc
Goblin
Ock, no,
was
dude,
even criticized
Doc
for
Ock
looking
has,
like a
like-
Power Ranger.
Yeah, dude, Doc Ock in the comics I love though because he's got like the green and he's got the like
He is a little bit more vibrant with the greens, I guess, in the comics.
yeah,
right?
again they're just a lot more colorful, but yeah, I mean that's really it. My thoughts on this movie. I'm not sure if you have anything else. Or...
Not really. I mean, we talked pretty like extensively about this movie. I didn't take any notes for this. I was like just
I took very few, and then I realized I was enjoying the movie so much that I was like, I'm good. I stopped taking notes. But we surprisingly we were pretty efficient this episode, not too far in, and
thought we covered a lot of likes and dislikes.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm ready for ratings.
sweet. Did you want to start? I don't remember who started with X-Men 1.
I'll start
Yeah,
because I got a clean number for you. Clean. I'm gonna go with a 7 out of 10 for X2.
All right. I hate that I went second because I'm also giving it a clean 7 out of 10. I was teetering on a.
You got to incorporate those decimals, Jake.
I can't do it. It's too much. I was teetering on a 7 or a 7.5 out of 10, but the only thing that really hurts this movie for me is, again, I do think it takes itself a little too seriously, and I do wish it was a little bit shorter. Like they're like when they basically defeat Jason and William Stryker, and I checked the time and I still had 28 minutes left. And
Wow.
like, yeah, the whole final stuff with them escaping and the whole Jean scene. I don't have a problem with how that scene plays out. I just have a problem with them teasing the whole Phoenix thing and how that will play out in the next movie. So stay tuned for that, guys. But yeah, so, 7 out of 10 for both of us. So, all right. Good movie, better than the first, a lot more enjoyable, a lot more engaging. Obviously, no need to recommend the next movie because we are going to be finishing the X-Men trilogy with X-Men The Last Stand. We lose Bryan Singer as a director, as he would go on to instead direct Superman Returns with Brandon Routh and, known pedophile Kevin Spacey. And, we get Brett Ratner instead. So stay tuned for that one. That'll be a fun one. God, I haven't seen that movie in so long. It's gonna be an interesting watch.
You said that was your favorite at one point, right? When you were a kid?
When I was really young. It was the first X-Men movie I ever watched.
Oh, okay.
Was The Last Stand. Yeah. So my dad had a habit of just doing that. Like, he let me watch the prequels without showing me the original Star Wars movies. He showed me X-Men 3, and then when I was like really into it, he's like, "Oh yeah, you should watch the 2 that came out before it." And I was like, "What?"
I did that with Lauren. She never saw the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies until she met me, which is just crazy to me. But she watched Spider-Man 3 first. She watched them backwards. She watched them 3, 2, 1. And I think we actually did that with Austin Powers. We did Goldmember 2 and then 1.
Okay.
I don't know why we keep doing that.
Gotta revisit those. In college, me and my roommates, we watched the 50 Shades of Grey trilogy in reverse. So we did we did Freed, Darker, and then the original.
Man, those got tiring. Actually, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah. Before we do our plugs, Josh, I got a question for you.
Oh, all right.
In the theme of superheroes, what is your favorite comic book suit in a movie? It can be animated, it can be live action, as long as it's a feature film. What is your favorite suit in a movie?
A movie, not a show, not video game, right? Just a movie.
Yeah, no shows, no movies.
Any superhero.
Any superhero.
No villain, just hero, right?
I mean, I guess you could go villain. Any comic book character. Any comic book character in a movie.
Okay. Jesus. I don't know. You should have pulled up the timer. You should have really had me timed here.
No, it's all right. Take your time. Whatever. I got mine locked and loaded.
Man, it's amazing. I think about a lot of questions, I feel like, and then I realize maybe I don't when you ask me these. No. You know what? I'm just going to say it because I kind of was disliking them, so many of them, and this one got kind of close to a video game version of a suit I like. I'm going to go Robbie Pat's Batman. I know it's not my favorite, but that's what's coming to mind right now.
Okay.
Mostly because I really dislike Christian Bale's suit.
Yeah.
And then before that you had Joel Schumacher suits, and I mean I like Michael Keaton's, but that's too big of a gap. So I'm going.
I like
with that.
the splash of yellow. That's what I like about the Keaton suit.
I do like that,
logo.
but Robbie Pat's it does remind me of the Arkham games a little bit. But honestly, I'll think of a better answer and I'll just tell Jake on our own time when I can give it better thought. But that's what I'm rolling with for now.
Okay. I'm going to go, and it's crazy because I fucking hate this movie, but I think they nailed the suit. But Andrew Garfield's TASM 2 suit, I think, is like the perfect Spider-Man suit.
That actually, man.
Yeah.
When I was thinking of Spider-Man, I was like, I have a problem with all of them. And I was thinking of the Amazing suit, not the second one. And I remember when that came out, how much I liked it.
Do you not like Tobey's suit?
No, I do. But I remember when Andrew Garfield's, I liked it. Just I like that one more. But yeah,
I do too.
That's your favorite.
I think the TASM 2 suit is probably like my ideal Spider-Man suit. And it doesn't help that I like all the movies. I hate all of Tom Holland's suits. except the one that you see at the end of No Way Home with the classic blue and the
Oh, with
classic
that
red.
Yeah, that vibrant blue was.
I am
It's
very excited to see that in Spider-Man Brand New Day. And I'm really, the biggest issue with the Tom Holland suits is they all look CGI. Every single
Yeah.
one. They look CGI.
I'm not big on the
and
small spider, to be honest. I don't care for
Yeah.
it. I don't know
That's
why.
what's good about the TASM. That's what's good about the TASM one is you get the long
Yeah,
Spider-Man
and
legs, and
you get the good eyes. I really like the eyes on the TASM too.
I love the white eyes. Yeah, the white eyes are
Honestly,
great. That's why
see-
it's better than
I'm already changed my answer. I like that more than I think Barbie Pats, but I'll think of my own.
I'll tell you what. I'll gift you TASM 2 suit, and I'll go with my number 2 favorite,
Can I
which
guess?
is go for it.
Is it Wolverine suit in Deadpool Wolverine?
No, but that is close. Because I did say you could go live action or animated. I'm going with the Spider-Man 2099 suit from Across the Spider-Verse.
I was trying to think of all the suits in those animated ones, but I couldn't land on one. There's so many.
I also really like Miles' suit in the first one with like the hoodie and like the drawn on spider. Like I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, all right. Well, there you have it. And like I said, next episode, X-Men Last Stand, and then from there on out, every MCU movie leading up to Avengers Doomsday. You can listen to this podcast anywhere you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and also on my personal YouTube channel at Former Film Student. But that's it for me.
Yep. So as usual, guys, head on over to either TikTok or Instagram at Franchise Deep Dive. Look out for all the short clips of these episodes and, whatever's coming out that week. Tune in, support, like, comment, whatever you feel necessary, but we always appreciate your support either way. You know what? I should have said Harry Osborn's suit in Spider-Man 3.
That might
stinks.
be top 5 worst.
That stinks.
That might be top 5 worst. Up there with every suit in these 2 X-Men movies. All right, guys. Well, we'll catch you on the next episode of Franchise Deep Dive. Goodbye.
Later.